I cannot waste my energy that I'm managing to study and then build amazing relationships on something that is trivial, like wrong. That's wrong.
My help has come. Oh,
Hi guys, you're welcome to my YouTube channel again. It's so nice being here after a very long time. Yeah, where have I been? I've been somewhere in the part of Nigeria, living life. Life has been lifing. There's been one thing or the other, but then I'm grateful to God that God has kept me going. You know, God has been faithful, really. And so, in a very long time, I've had different topics that, in my mind that I've wanted to, bring to you and share my take on, my thoughts on, my experience on. So, it's so nice to be finally here. And I miss them all, of course. Today, I'd be talking about having a balanced life alongside an excellent academic subject matter. I feel it's one that when I was in school, it's something that I've always wanted to, I think like I used to say like, oh, I want to have a balanced life. I didn't want to just be all about books. I didn't just want to be a scholar. I didn't just want to be a first class student. Like I want to have a balanced life. And then it felt like, you know, I didn't know how to go about it. Like I just didn't want to. But basically, what I've figured is first you have to know one, what a balanced life is to you. The definition of a balanced life is actually distributing your time, energy, attention across various aspects of your life in a way that you have fulfillment. So we have different definitions of fulfillment, we have different standards of fulfillment. So in defining what a balanced life is to you, a balanced life could mean you having to do it academically, you could be an excellent A student and you wanted to participate in voluntary activities, in church activities, I mean religious activities basically and thereabout. While to someone else it could be having an excellent, academic life and wanted to party. To some, they may just decide to want to sleep, wake up, eat, live a soft life, quote and unquote. While to another person, the person just wants to be okay academically, like no stress, like they're not carrying first class to heaven. So a balanced life actually means different things to us. And I feel you have to look within and identify what really is that balanced life to you. What is that fulfillment? What's that thing your heart yearns for that says, oh yes, this is it. This is the kind of life I want to live. So for you to be able to know how to live a balanced life, you have to know what it is for you. So you'll be able to work in alignment with the goal. You'll be able to have the discipline, take the strategic steps, to achieve this. And so going to number two, another thing I feel is very important is self-awareness. You have to be self-aware. You have to know your strengths and your weaknesses. You have to know you are different from the other person. Basically, a balanced life does not necessarily mean having specific number of hours allotted to certain activities. Did you get that? Okay, what I'm trying to say is a balanced life does not mean you have to have a fixed allocation of time to certain activities. So, to have a balanced life, doing well academically and other stuff, it doesn't necessarily mean, for instance, that you have to read 12 hours every day throughout your academic journey. One thing that is very important, and you being self aware, you have to recognize times and seasons. You have to know what point you are or what phase you are at that moment. For instance, there are times whereby you need to separate yourself from certain people, while there are times whereby you have to socialize. It's very important. You have to know when to, separate yourself, probably in terms of academics, do more study by yourself, while there are times whereby the solution is not actually separating yourself. You have to mix with people, understand how the system works, ask for help. So going forward, still under self-awareness, when I say you have to recognize your weaknesses and your strengths, for instance, I know of a particular person. Then when I was in school, I was in fellowship, I was in a choir, I know, in my 100 level, and then I was in Bible study department. And so there was this person, he was an executive. And it felt like he was always coming to church, and then I was curious, how do you do it? And yeah, I remember he was a pharmacy student, like studying pharmacy. And then I just said, like, oh, how does it do it? And so I asked him, and then he told that doing these activities actually propel him to actually read. It moves him to read. So it works differently for us. Why for me? There was a particular season in my life that, okay, I'd go to church and all that. But I don't go to every vigils because I knew myself. And funny enough, I don't go to because there was something the academic units used to do then in my fellowship. They do like night class, like sort of to encourage students to read overnight, like a VG. I don't go because I'm aware it doesn't work for me. I don't have to try to be like someone else. Fine, at the beginning stage, which is the point of starting early, you may want to like understand how it works, like most likely you could try to work on it. But when it doesn't work for you, you don't stay there trying to be someone else. I know that at a particular time during the day, I stay away from people because in the night, the sleep likes me. I'll just sleep the sleep. And in being self-aware, I also remember a particular season of my life. Saturday, after rehearsals, I run to school. After church service, I run to school because I knew I was going to be distracted by my roommates, even without she distracting me. Because if she's not even talking to me, I have issues with it. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. I know myself, like she doesn't even have to talk to me. Just to say, like, when I'm in a space, I want to be there. So it's better for me. I could be distracted. That's when I'll remember one thing that I want to ask. I wonder, and then it shifts my attention. So at certain point, I had to be self-aware, and then in having a balanced life, I had to know that okay, since it was not just all school for me, as I said, I was in the workforce. I had to know that okay, you do this. I sort of knew what I wanted, but I wouldn't deny the fact that I didn't have it all figured out. And then I felt like I wanted to do more, like maybe go out and all that. But given the demand during that time, I couldn't just afford to like just do like probably every other person. And that brings me to the third point, which is priorities. You have to identify your priorities as much as you want to have a balanced life. Like in economics, is what they call scale of preference, alternative for God, and all that. You have to prioritize the activities you are meant to be doing for you to know that, oh, this comes first. Even if I'm able to achieve this, but I can't achieve the other one, then it's fine. It also determines the amount of time you'd allocate to certain tasks. And it's also connected with me saying that there's no fixed amount of time. You could be flexible. There may be a particular season in your life that, okay, you're just new to the system and then you're trying to figure things out. You spend more time reading. And then you might have moved past that, whereby you easily grab things, you understand how the system works. You don't have to spend too much time reading because everyone is spending too much time reading. Although it's advisable to spend much time reading because that's your priority there. But then if you're particular about the balanced life and all that, you cannot compare yourself to the other person. So that is another point you want to take. You have to know that what works for him may not necessarily work for you. It may be fine for you to spend time with your friends for few minutes, while it's fine for someone else to spend quarter of the day with their friends. And they'll still do well in exam. They'll still do well because they have the ability to recall information easily, you know, information that they just consumed in a very short time. It works for other people, so we wouldn't deny that. And then having a balanced life, Number five, I feel you cannot underestimate the importance of peace. Yeah, peace. I feel like we underestimate the significance of our mental health and peace. When there is peace, it makes you able to think well. It increases your creativity. It's not like you're fighting with everybody. Everybody is fighting with you. Even the people that are not fighting with you, safe. So you want to maintain that posture of peace, and by guiding, knowing the right people to talk to at the right time, you cannot underestimate them because you have a focus. And that's why I say you have to define what a balanced life is to you. You have a focus. That's why for me there are times whereby in school I remember, okay, I've lived in a room of eight, room of four and all that. And so just one time there was the minor stuff that caused my roommate was giving me attitude and all that. And the norms before that, I had a habit of going to school mountain, starting my day like being conscious of God, basically starting my day with God, which is very important for my core value. And then I value peace a whole lot. I just figured that there are things as core values and they determine how we respond to certain things. And so back to the, you know, whole issue of peace and focus. That's it's because of the things I consider important and because of my priorities. That is why I wouldn't spend time on irrelevant nonsense conversations. Like peace is important for me. I want to be cool with people and all that. But then at some point I just had to tell myself then when that stuff was, because it was something that was just like this shouldn't even be an issue. I have a focus. I I I don't have to be distracted. So I just leave the room very early in the morning, you know, come back in the night, and then I'm cool. Because as at that point I had priorities, and then I didn't want anything to threaten my peace. I wanted to be able to work effectively, efficiently, and just was in alignment, like my priorities and all that. I cannot waste my energy that I'm managing to study and then build amazing relationships on something that is trivial, like wrong. That's wrong. And so also I like to emphasize the place of discipline. And it's easy to be okay. Discipline is not usually easy, but I'm trying to say that when you've defined what a balanced life is to you, then you have to be disciplined to work towards that which you envision, that which you see yourself doing, having a balanced life. And for some people, I know they're in relationships and all that, and you're trying to have that kind of balanced, you know. Some people do it, so it's not like it's something possible to be had, but then it's there's a place of discipline and basically, you know, I feel like the summary of this thing is you have to do the right thing at the right time. You have to know when to do the right thing. You have to understand the season you are in. You have to know what to be doing for you to have a balanced life. Sometimes a balanced life will require, you know, you investing more time in a particular activity at a particular time than the other activity. While in another season of your life, it may require you, you know, investing a lesser time in that activity which you know, invested more time the previous time. Okay. Do you get what I'm trying to say? What I'm trying to say is in different seasons, you have to recognize that it requires you to know the level of energy, the level of effort, the level of attention you give certain things during certain period of time. For instance, even in terms of like academics, private relationship, although it all depends, and this is not for married folks like that. For instance, I believe if you're actually pursuing your first degree and you're probably in a relationship, you may have to invest more time, at least, you know, until you gain your foot, like until you gain your ground, until you settled, until you understand the whole landscape. And then, of course, in subsequent times, you could have that balance of time and depending on your priorities and all that different factors come to play in matters like this, you may invest more time in the other too. So you just know what you consider important at that time. Having a balanced life also, I know we people don't really talk about it, but you have to eat well, you have to take care of yourself. You have to this should be part of your main priorities. So you'd want to put that into consideration. And in doing that, in me explaining times and seasons for you to recognize, you know, because the place of discipline too, you also have to know that you cannot afford to be eating too much sometimes. You, you sometimes you have to train your body to obey you. For instance, I remember a particular season of my life whereby I was doing pondo yam like 30 minutes to my exam. And then my roommate was looking at me like, what's this? And then to me, I'm like, you cannot get. I'm the one that knows myself. I'm aware. I'm aware of the season I am in. And due to some reason, I actually had to eat else. And then, of course, I don't need the exam all early. So there are just many factors and then all that. But to someone else, you probably, you can't afford to do that. And I was not staying outside school. I was staying in campus as at that time. So there are different factors to consider. So in you balancing your life, in summary, I like to remind you of the things to take note of. The first, you have to know what a balanced life is to you. The second, you have to be self-aware of what season you are in, your weaknesses and your strengths. So you manage that properly. The third, you have to prioritize right. You have to prioritize the different things you actually want to balance in your life. And the fourth, there's no point comparing yourself to another person. There's no need of comparison. Know yourself, accept who you are. It's fine for you to work on yourself and all that, but for you to efficiently balance your life, you have to know that you don't have to compete with anyone just to be better than the previous you. You don't have to compare yourself with anyone. You have your own journey, you have your unique abilities. And the fifth, you have to maintain a posture of peace, protect your peace so you'll be able to be much more creative, so you'll be able to work efficiently. And if you don't want distractions, and then that's basically it. That's what I have for you today. These are the things I felt to share that are very important. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to paste your questions in the comment section below. It's always a delight connecting with you. Thank you for staying connected. I wish you all the best. And in all, remain joyful, remain full of hope. It's not bye bye, but see you again.
My help has come.